Well, I got to tell you, we have a lot of speakers, and that really, truly, honestly was one of the most entertaining and informative. Not just funny, but I mean that was a really, really well done presentation. I mean that sincerely.
But it was also the crowd because the energy is so good.
Yeah.
In the room, you're a speaker. If the people all like, you're like, I don't want to talk about this crap.
Right. So I have some questions for you. And I'll just kind of kick it off. But again, guys, be thinking of questions you want to ask him. I want to focus on you and let you have the time with him to ask him questions. And I've read your book, and just like I said, the titles alone, if you just read, your book is one of those books, even if you just take the book title and you look at it, do you know what I mean? Like the Power of Broke and Rise and Grind. When you just look at the titles, it kind of just tells you, you know what I mean? But I got to ask you to just dig in a little bit of the power of broke, because a lot of entrepreneurs say, oh, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have connections. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so the theory of the power of broke is I was tired of hearing people say you need money to make money and all those things. And I knew the research showed that one of the top reasons that startups and small businesses fail is actually they're overfunded. And people are always like, what do you mean overfunded? Well, you believe you need $100,000 to open up a great bakery. Let's use that for an example. So, you go and sign this lease for 6-7 years. Because you know what? The bakery, by the way, your grandmother had these amazing cupcakes that everybody loved. So, no problem. But you want to open the bakery, you never sold a damn cupcake in your life. But so you get, a beautiful store. The cash register looks like a cupcake. The chandelier looks like a cupcake. The cupcake hats, everybody's beautiful. But you haven't sold a damn cupcake. All of a sudden, you find out that there's a kid in the nursery next door who has a peanut allergy. They got to tape off 6 square miles for. There's a little grandmother in a church down the block that's been selling cupcakes like crack for the last 20 years. And you never sold a cupcake. So now all of a sudden, by the time you learn your mistakes, you have to file bankruptcy. Your credit is ruined for 7 years, your friends aren't talking to you, and your relationship with your family is hurt. Instead of going out and creating a community and selling cupcakes. I sold a couple of hats. So I wanted to tell people that because they all believe that. And in first season of Shark Tank, we would always deploy the money, all the money they needed. Like say, I'd give somebody $400,000. I'd find out they would go and build a $100,000 website when they needed a $1,000 Facebook page. Or they went and bought over inventory, and the first rendition is always going to be crap. So it's usually the fact that people are overfunded, and the ones who win are usually the people who have great mentors, they have great information, and they go and build a community, and they make sure people talk about them when they're not even in the room. And so I wanted to put that all in the Power of Broke to show people, you don't need money, you have to build a community.
Right. And it's proven that if you have limited options, it increases creativity, because you're forced then, you got to make something with nothing.
Sure.
And you hustle. And talk about that a little bit, because another thing that, and not so much in this room, but in other clients, and I hear, this room, they're sharp. And I do mean that sincerely. These guys really get up and they want to do sales and marketing. But I think one of the challenges, a lot of people who run a business, they start the business, they're the cupcake maker, right? Yeah. And so they focus on, we need to have better recipes, we need to have, prettier displays out here. And like you said, they forget to go and they got to sell something. So talk about, the importance of sales and marketing as an entrepreneur. And then even as you grow, how do you stay connected? Are you still the salesperson in your company?
You're always a salesperson. Okay, let's be really honest. Product is king. If you're not selling a really good product, then it's not going to go far. So yes, you do have to pay a lot of attention on your offering. But then you have to go out and sell it yourself, because when you hire a staff, which is great, a staff job is not to sell the product to others. A staff job is to sell you that they're doing a good job. I've never met a salesperson who came back to me and said, the product sucks. All they say is, well, the store's not ready for it this time. Can you change the colors, whatever the case is? And when you start to sell hand-in-hand, one-on-one, no matter what, you get to know why people are buying your product. You see, so the best thing about, when I started is, I used to stand up on 125th Street when the Apollo Theater at midnight let out. Now, let me tell you something about being in Harlem on 125th Street at midnight when a bunch of drunk people come out of the Apollo Theater. They told me what they thought about my hats and my mother. But I got to correct it. I got to find out what was selling, why they were selling it, what emotional need am I satisfying. So you absolutely don't be in the ivory tower. You have to understand, and you have to get out there and constantly sell. And if you're not selling on the hand-to-hand level to one client to another, well, then who are you selling to? You're selling to the VCs, you're selling to bankers, you're selling to corporations. So you need to know, because you have to be able to adjust your business.
Right, right. Yeah, because I think they try to outsource it, or they'll try to hire somebody. Hey, you come in and run the sales. And I rarely ever see that work.
It never does. It really does.
Right.
And when you start to get big enough where you stop going to the trade show, you send your staff, all of a sudden, listen, it's still about people investing in people. And if you and I both came up in the industry, and I've always been a buyer of your product, and okay, now my company's large, so I have other buyers who buy from me. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't come to the trade show and come and call and talk to me personally. You need that connection, because the hungrier, younger version of you is trying to get to me. And once you have that disconnect, you lose your clients.
Right, right, absolutely. All right, so come up to the mics, guys, if you have questions for Daymond. We've got one over there and one over here. And while we're waiting for a couple people to come to the mic, don't be shy. Vote for Pedro. All right. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I got something I want to talk to you about. Don't look at it. Don't look at it yet.
All right.
It's like an Easter egg surprise. Okay, so one question I wanted to ask you, because I have two girls, and I grew up with nothing. I mean, I don't even have a college. I mean, I never even graduated high school. I never had any examples of entrepreneurs. I never had mentors. I didn't have money. And I think that strengthened me. I think that made me who I am. It made me scrappy. I wasn't ashamed to do any job. I worked hard, all those things. And I worry about my kids. And I think even the people in this room, we have a level of success, like even with your kids. And your mother was so instrumental to you, right? So to the parents in the room, what's some advice you would give to me and us to what should we be doing to instill that spirit into our kids?
Very hard. I wish I could tell you. I mean, my ex-wife is really a brilliant person. She's raised my girls so amazing, and my current wife is. And my girls think my daughters think I'm the stupidest man on the planet. What I found is, obviously you have to lead by example, and they watch you. And that's the same way that I had watched my mother. No matter what she said, I followed what she did. I just all I can say as a family person and is to how much time do you carve out and put that as a priority for your family? Because I always tell people, it's in several of the books, I don't look at the emails for the first hour of the day that I wake up, and I don't look at social media. I take that time that I have to plan out when am I going to see my kids, when am I going to go out with my wife, or whatever the case is, because we never get to that. What we always do, we'll get to it later. So the reason I don't look at emails for the first hour and or Instagram is because when you look at emails, you've opened yourself up to everybody's problems. You wake up in the morning and everybody's got a damn problem. I don't get an email with, you know all the problem we had yesterday? They're gone, and I'm sending you a check for $1 million. It just doesn't happen. Then you go on social media, and everybody is skinnier, sexier, wealthier. They're all on vacation when they're just as screwed up as you. But you wake up and you look at this, you're like trying to solve everybody else's problems, and you're depressed about everybody else. So I don't do those things. I look at and I carve out what I want to do for the day and with my family, and then I do take time. I travel the world 3 separate times by the age of 35, and I never saw anything. The entire world was an airport, a restaurant, a conference room, and a hotel. And now I carve out wherever I'm at. I was going to get here really early today just to go fishing. I carve out where I'm at with my family. I carve out where I'm at, because you'll never, ever get to it. And, and so that's what it is. And so with your two girls and like mine, I remember a friend of mine who was with me on the road one day, he said, I got to hurry up and get home. I said, get home for what? He said, I got to take my 2 daughters on separate dates, and my daughters are 12 years old. I said, what are you talking about? He said, I do this every 6 months, because if I don't take my daughters on a date, how will they ever know how a man is supposed to treat them the first time that they start dating? I said to myself, yeah, right? So the same way you have a plan of action for your business, you have to have the same plan of action for your spouses and for your kids. And everyone is different, so I can't tell you how, but again, I put them first.
Great, right. All right, so we're going to go to some questions. We'll go over here. No, we'll go to you first, Pedro. What the heck? I saw you coming up. This is vote for Pedro.
Can I do a 2-question? No, I'm kidding. you're been through a lot. So when
what?
you've been through a lot.
Yeah.
So when you go through so many difficult challenges throughout life and you own a business, how do you not let yourself be discouraged? You know what I mean? You stumble, you fall, you go through divorce, whatever the heck it may be, right? How do you not let any of that garbage affect you?
It does affect you. Of course it affects you. And I take inventory, like I said. So I do set these goals. I take inventory of what I want to accomplish. And sometimes I look back and I go, what is the 80-20? What is my 20% creating 80%? And I look at what am I going to do for the next 5 years or 10 years? And I just really say, am I happy about it? Every single year, I basically cut off a certain amount of friends and or associates because they could be detrimental to the way I think. I also invest about 20% on something new that I really like to do. But I'm very analytical about the success that I'm having, the failure I'm having, what is the payoff. And it's a very personal thing, but it's something that you have to do. And then I slowly start making a change to go towards where I want to go. Barbara has a method where she says, she writes down all her super important goals in the A column and all the things that she hates to do in the B column, and she tries to find ways to eliminate doing this and more doing this. That's her method. But no matter what, you've got to take that personal inventory of yourself, and it's very difficult, and I can't say you're going to hit a home run every time. I'm in the middle of doing it right now because I just turned 50, you know? I did, really. I did. I'm looking at myself now, what am I doing the next 20 years of my life right now, right? And so I'm taking inventory right now as we speak.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Great question. Okay.
I was fascinated by the 2 to 5 words, and I would like to know what your 2 to 5 words are, and have they changed over time?
They have. They've changed often. So my 2 to 5 words, probably about 8 years ago, because I was really getting, and Shark Tank was becoming really big. I was in so many different industries that my 2 to 5 words were, I'm on a quest. I always walk into the room trying to get as much information as I can because I was in so many different industries. And, now my 2 to 5 words are, my health is first. Because my health had deteriorated over the course of what we do. We're heavy travelers, we're never taking care of ourselves, and, when you're on the road, where are you most of the time at night? At the goddamn bar, right? I'll see you all there tonight. Now, I'm on a quest. Nutrition and working out and things like that are the most important things. It is, but my health is first.
Thank you.
Great. All right. Question over here.
Yes, my question is about risk. When your mother was willing to put everything on the line for you, even though you had those orders, and as entrepreneurs, we always balance risk, what was going through your mind at that time when she was willing to pull out for you?
Well, you got to remember, I was 24 years old. I didn't know what I didn't know. And the story turned out well, but I screwed it all up. I thought the $100,000 was more money than I ever heard of. I thought easily I'm going to manufacture the $300,000 worth of clothes, and I didn't know what I didn't know. So what was going through my head at the time was ignorance. It was, I got it now, and I'm off to the races. But before I got the Samsung deal, and I turned around and I saw everything was gone, I was like, this is not a game. The lights are really on right now, and everything can be gone. And 7 years of everything I work for will vanish because of my stupidity and my lack of financial intelligence. And that's when I started to understand financial intelligence. So basically, at that time, I was blissful and ignorant. And later on, after that, I said to myself, I don't know why I escaped and became fortunate enough to have this wealth, but I better change this because it can go just as fast as I made it. And that's when I started investing in finding mentors and educating myself and gaining financial intelligence.
Great. Okay, and we're going to make these the last 2 questions, okay? Yeah. Will?
Hey, Daymond, Will Nobles. I always ask the question, what is the most important thing you've ever learned?
Well, obviously, besides the health now, that's my thing, is that money is a great slave, but a horrible master. The things that I've ever done solely for money, I've never made it. All the things that I have done because I had a passion for it became super successful. Now, I'm not going to sit here and give you the warm, fuzzy, do what you love crap, right? But do what you love is that 20% investment, right? So I worked at Red Lobster for 5 years while doing FUBU at night. I just had to sacrifice. I would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I would, sew my shirts and answer the calls and then deliver all the shirts to the stores by 2 o'clock, go to Red Lobster, start working at 4, finish at 12, and then sew more shirts and go to bed at 2. And I did that for 5 years straight. Now, all that theory of quit your day job, no, don't quit your day job. Because I was making $30,000 a year at Red Lobster, not a lot, but I had medical. I was damn sure taking all the food home at night, so I had my food covered. I was using all the waiters and waitresses on the weekend to work the flea market with me. And if I would have quit my day job, I would have had to do $2 million in FUBU business to retain that same amount of money, and I would have never done that. But my passion became, what worked for me. Later on, when FUBU was going down, and I decided to educate myself and now put out books for people because I didn't want them to go through the same thing and go on CNBC and Donnie Deutsch and MSNBC because I loved it, what happens there? Shark Tank, right? So that's basically my answer to why I always say money is a great slave but a horrible master.
Great. Excellent. All right, and this will be the final question.
Yeah, this is the last question, so this may change everybody's life.
Yeah.
Hit me, baby.
How do you make sure that you're doing the grind right, but you don't, the other aspects too, how do you keep up with growing your company and also making sure you don't go under all the way?
Well, it all depends on what is the objective of your company. Is it to have incremental growth? Is it to go and exit? Is it to have more customers? And how are you taking inventory of why you want to grow and who are the partners and the strategic partners that you want to grow with? I mean, I can't give you that answer. That's a very personal thing. If you may want to grow your company to a certain size so you can take off 6 months of the year and be with your family. Or you want to work from home, so you want to reduce it and outsource it to a lot of people. I've been doing this now. It's just a conscious flow of thought. When my company was at its largest, highest amount of money annually, I had 400 employees internally, and I had another 1,000 externally. I became a shrink. I hated it. I felt like the reason why I had started the company to be intimate with my friends and family and have a great group of people, I stopped knowing people's names. And I hated it. I didn't want to do that anymore because also, I never wanted people in my company to hit a glass ceiling, and I never wanted them to not get anywhere because of their sex, their color, their gender, or anything else like that. And when you start having a lot of management around, if you don't have a great philosophy in the company, a lot of people do suffer. So now, my company is now growing again. I'm at 60 people. And I said, what do I do now? How do I stop this? And you know what I realized? Virtual assistants. I learned that VA is the most important thing. That's important to me. Not making more money is important to me. Being intimate with my team and being able to know everybody's name was more important to me. So that's my version of scaling, right? What is important to you?
I don't know.
But I understand, and often that's not a crazy answer, because often we're so busy going through the motions, like we're talking here today about, your business, but why? What's your why of why you want to grow it? A lot of time people come on Shark Tank and I go, all right, let me get this straight. You're doing $2 million in business and you want to grow to what? 4 or 5, and you want to give away 50% to walk away with the same shit that you got now? So you can listen to me calling you every day saying, where's our damn money? No, you don't need the investment. You just have to really, everybody in this room needs to just structure where they're going to be in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Why are you doing it? That why is a tough question. It really is. And I learned to answer the tough questions, the why, when I was first writing a book. I was talking to my ghostwriter, and we were writing a book, and he was like, yeah, so what happened when your dad left? I was like, yeah, well, my dad left when I was 10 years old, and I'm probably the man I am today because, whatever it is, I became the man of the house. And he said, yeah? Well, in a book, you can't just write that. You need to explain to the reader what you were going through, your feelings. And he said, why, and how do you feel? I said, well, I felt like this and that. He said, well, tell me more. Before you know it, I was like this, Daddy! Daddy! You got to dig real deep and know your why. I hope I answered that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right. So,
Thank you.
now, Now, you are the smartest shark.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure.
No, I agree,
Okay,
I
okay.
agree.
So I have something I'd want to. It's a prototype. It's called a flaming turd extinguisher,
Flaming turd.
and it's for entrepreneurs. It's a product that I'm looking for investment in. So I'm looking for. My ask is $1 million for 100% equity, and. And see, now again, this is just a prototype, but like all business owners, you know, they have really tough times and hard times. And I always say that it feels like when you're an entrepreneur, you know, people don't just put turds on your desk every day. They like light them on fire and fling them out. And so entrepreneurs really need a flaming turd extinguisher. So I was wondering if, you know, you would, you know, be interested.
What are your sales?
Well, so we actually, like, our membership here, we do about $6 million in sales just for
With
the...
this?
No, what? No. Well, think Snuggie, all right? I see this as the next Snuggie. And so we sell the membership here. We do about $6 million in sales. They pay for that, and the membership is a bonus for free. But that is really why they join.
Yeah, I would say that it's a pretty decent idea. It is. I think that this should be at everybody's, like, because you can get a lot of advertising. If this is in everybody's hotel room tonight after they eat those volcano wings at the bowling alley, I think that...
So, well, we at least think about it, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I will think about it.
I pitched this to Robert, and he said no, and Barbara said no.
I'm the nicer one.
I'm going to try Kevin
I'll just
O'Leary.
talk behind
I
your
think
back,
O'Leary might go for it. What do you think?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
My own.
That's
Thank you.
your own. Okay. All right. Let's give him a big round of applause. It was fantastic.
Thank you.
That was great, man.